Good evening YouTube, Sacri-Friday here bringing you the first episode of Sacri-Fridays. Pun credit goes to my friend Rob, and in this segment I will be bringing you just tips, tricks and possible side deck cards you might consider for tribute based decks. This is anything from macro, monarch to more frogs than anything else, because a lot of my things have to go to the graveyard, but that's enough babbling from me. The first card I want to talk to you about today is this card, the End of Anubis. If you don't know what he is or does, he's a dark, level 6, fiend. He's 2/500 attack, 0 defense. That becomes very important, and I'll show you why later on. As long as this card remains face up on the field, all effects of spell, trap and monster cards that designate a card or cards in the graveyard, or that activate in the graveyard, are negated. So he's kind of half Necro Valley, half Soul Drain on 2/5 legs. He's interesting because with Dark Worlds not getting hit at all in September, he stops all of the discard effects like Snow Search or Grapha's Pot. One thing he doesn't stop in that deck, and that's Grapha's Special Summon, because that's a summoning condition as opposed to an actual effect that activates, as far as I know. If I'm wrong on that, please let me know in the comments. He's also good for the mirror match if you're playing frogs, because it's basically like Vanti's Fiend. They can't get their frogs out, so they have to rely on Dark Hole, Econ, Soul Exchange, those kind of plays rather. He doesn't stop banishing costs, which might be a bit of a problem, because BLS is still a card, Chaos Sorcerer is still a card even though it's at 1. Also doesn't stop Hyperion from coming out. He also is reasonably good against up and coming decks, or decks that, or these two decks, well, they're not doing anything at the moment, but I think they can do really well soon, and that's Larval and Medolce, because he basically seals off the grave for Larvals, and Medolce can't activate their effects when they're sent to the grave to shuffle themselves back into the deck and get their pluses from Chateau and Ticket and all of that good stuff. One thing you do have to be careful of, in the mirror at least, is Econ, because they'll just switch your defense and run over it with a Ronin Toadin or something, because it's got pitiful defense. The reverse side of that is, it does have 2/5, so it'll be able to beat over opposing monarchs, which is also nice. Also helps against plants as well if they do decide to make a proper comeback. The second card I want to discuss with you is kind of a favourite for frog decks, one that's been used for a long time, Jinzo. If you don't know what he does, he's a dark, level 6, 2/4, 1/5. Trap cards cannot be activated, and the effects of all face-up trap cards are negated. This doesn't work on Skill Drain, because Skill Drain, if it's currently face-up when Jinzo is summoned, negates Jinzo. He's pretty good against stuff like GKs, who tend to set a lot of back row, but his main use for me, personally, is against like Final Countdown or Burn, where he just largely just shuts down their deck completely. And that brings me to my third and last choice for this evening, Spell Counselor. It's an old, relatively obscure card. It's Wind, level 5, 1/8, 1/6, so a bit too weedy to be used against most things, but it's the exact same as Jinzo, but with spell cards. This is especially good against Final Countdown and Exodia, because Exodia without their spells can't really do anything. He's a little bit too weedy to be useful against other decks which rely on spells, like Dark World, Heroes or Prophecy, because they'll just summon something and beat over you, and it will hurt quite a lot. Unless you can get out a Gachi or two alongside it, I wouldn't recommend putting it in against those decks. But these two cards in conjunction will help you against those alternate win condition decks. Thank you for watching, YouTube. Stay tuned for another Sacri-Friday next Friday.